My name is Alan Lightman. I'm a scientist and a writer. My family has a home on a small island in Maine. The island has no roads or bridges, and there's no ferry service. One summer night, in the wee hours, I was coming back to the island in my boat. I was alone on the water. I was captivated by the quiet and the stars overhead. I decided to turn off the engine. I lay down in the boat and looked up. After a few moments, my world dissolved into that star-littered sky. The boat disappeared, my body disappeared, and I found myself falling into infinity. I felt as if I were part of the stars. I was merging with something much larger than myself. And the vast expanse of time, extending from the far distant past, long before I was born, and then into the far distant future, long after I'll be gone, seemed compressed to a dot. What was happening to me? As a scientist, I used to think that everything could be reduced to numbers. But at that moment in the boat, I believe you could have hooked up every neuron in my brain to a giant computer, and all of that data wouldn't have come close to explaining my experience. After a time, I sat up and started the engine again. And so began my personal journey to understand how these different worlds relate. The world of atoms and molecules, and the world of complex human experiences. In a material and impermanent cosmos in the age of science, what is it that has meaning? And how can we find it? I wanted to talk to some leading scientists about their experiences with discovery. What do they find most rewarding? First, I returned to the McGovern Institute of Brain Research at MIT, which is headed by Robert DeSimone. I asked him whether, if he could push a button and get an answer to the biggest questions about the origins of consciousness, would you push the button?
Darn right I would.
Would that put you out
I'd
of
put it in a millisecond. Are you kidding? I think we still have a lot of work in front of us because at the end of the day, we don't just want to understand our brains, we want to be able to help people and we want to be able to cure problems.
Fabiola Giannotti is now Director General of CERN, the giant particle accelerator in Geneva, Switzerland. She worked on the discovery of the Higgs boson, a fundamental subatomic particle. Would she push the button to learn the final laws of physics?
I think, no, I would not push the button because I think what is important is not only the ultimate goal, but also the incredible path to get to there. And this is very much part of what we do as human beings. So I think equally fascinating is the path that brings us to there.
Ray Weiss is a Nobel laureate for his 4 decades of work to detect gravitational waves. an achievement so difficult that even Albert Einstein thought it impossible. Would you push the button?
Of course I would. I'd want to find out. Because there's no danger in it. Of course I'd push that button.
Nergis Mavlvala is an immigrant from Pakistan. She's a MacArthur genius and the first woman to be Dean of Science at MIT. Nergis has been a major contributor to building the instruments that detected gravitational waves. Push the button?
Absolutely not. I would break the button because part of the journey is peeling back the layers to see what's down there. And I personally think, nature will always have more to reveal. So no, I would not push the button. I may, just give it a tiny tap just to see what the next thing is, but not go all the way.
So many of these leading scientists mentioned the human dimension of science, echoed by philosophers and faith leaders.
Good morning.
Like His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Now, it is very useful, very good. Now, modern time, you see, now we simply, not holding a past belief, but always think or investigate. That is good. That is sign of progress.